Calaroga Shark Media.
Boy, it will not stop raining where I live. Hello. I'm Johnny Mac, trapped inside, once again with your daily comedy news. The Tennessean. I checked out one of the Nateland shows at Zanies in Nashville. They do that on Monday nights. It's a lineup curated by Nate Bargatze. Nicole likes attending the shows. She said there's always a chance Nate will show up, which is a pretty good possibility. If he's there on a Monday night, you get to see a short set from him, essentially for free, which is huge. Nate showed up on April 28th and did 20 minutes. Nate told the Tennessean, I want the next generation to have a chance to come up behind me. I always believed in myself. I always believed I was going to get to a high level, but I remember going to TV show producers and wanting to pitch shows, and you get told no. I felt frustration. Why didn't you pick me? Before, people had to do sitcoms to do arenas. I've gone this other way. Now you can just become a stand-up comedian. I want that to be the path for the next group that comes up. You have comics coming up and don't know what they can do, and I can help show them. Aaron Weber is one of the hosts of the Nateland podcast. He said, Nate put me on his podcast before I really had any right to be there. He produced and funded my debut comedy special. And as busy as he is these days, he's always available for advice whenever I need it. Greg Warren, who's been in comedy for 30 years, said his career took off with Nate's help. Warren said, honestly, I remember thinking, I may be finally getting better at this. I might be too old for anyone to care. Nate produced 2 of Warren's specials, helped Warren launch his own podcast as part of the network, and tapped Warren to be an opening act on the road. Warren said, I toured Europe with Nate. Yeah, his daughter took advantage of my fear of heights and terrorized me at the top of the Eiffel Tower, but I'm still grateful for everything he's done for me. I'm enjoying my career more than I ever have, and Nate is a huge part of that. Steve Carell gave the commencement speech at Northwestern University's graduation over the weekend. In the middle of it, Steve said, it is time to follow me in the mid-commencement address dance break. Carell danced for a bit behind the podium, then jogged off stage to high-five and celebrate with graduates. He came back to the mic and said that was as invigorating as it was disturbing. He had to catch his breath and said, wow, I'm out of shape. Got more serious and said, remember the little things like being kind and that you're not alone. Take care of one another. Remember to laugh when you have the opportunity and to cry when necessary. Turn your jealousy into admiration and use it to fuel your ambition in a positive way. Comedian Dave Smith making the news. Smith is a frequent guest on Rogan and has a podcast or 2 himself. He had endorsed Donald Trump in 2024. And now in statements that are making the mainstream media, Dave Smith said of the president, he should be impeached and removed. He called his previous endorsement of Trump a bad calculation. Smith added all of his supporters should turn on him. It's the absolute betrayal of everything he ran and campaigned on and everything that he stood for. These comments are in response to Trump's handling of Israel-Iran. Send your letters to Dave Smith. Patton Oswalt will tape his new special, Black Coffee and Ice Water, at the Audible Theater. July 11th and 12th, they're going to do 3 shows. It'll be recorded live and later released as an Audible original, which is kind of interesting. It's not one of the usual suspects there. And I don't believe Audible does video, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, we're told in Black Coffee and Ice Water, Patton Oswalt wrestles with religion, wolves, parenting a teenager, and musical theater. The press release says Patton mostly loses. Just for Laughs Montreal announced the outdoor shows. They include Puddle's Pity Party, in which the 7-foot sad clown, whose golden voice is comparable to rock legends like Tom Jones and Freddie Mercury, will appear. Adam Ray is Dr. Phil Live. That is a free outdoor show. That's a lot of fun. Bonjour Hi, which is really funny because that's usually how I'll walk into a Starbucks and go, Bonjour Hi, and then they hear I can't speak French at all and they switch, which is pretty good. Very good title there. It's a bilingual performance, blending French and English humor. That sounds like a lot of fun. Not outdoor shows. Rhys Darby, The Legend returns. Tickets on sale now, also for Chris DiStefano. And Variety's 10 Comics to Watch. We haven't seen the list yet, but tickets are on sale. That show's at Club Soda. $32 will get you in. Past Comics to Watch include Nate, Ali Wong, Donald Glover, Kumail, Pete Davidson, Nick Kroll, Aubrey Plaza, Gerard Carmichael, Pete Holmes, Michael Che, Amy Schumer, Mateo Lane, Fortune Feimster, Moa Mayer, Jenny Slate, Hannah Einbender, Ayo Edeberry, and so many more. Of course, and Taylor Thompson. Pretty impressive list, but also, how about all the ones that were on the list that we forgot about? They're that too, but it's usually a pretty good list. Friend of the show, Mark Malkoff, has a book coming out called Love Johnny Carson. Mark sent out an email that tells us the biography overwhelmingly contains new details about Johnny and a show never discussed on the Carson podcast. Mark currently hosts the podcast Inside Late Night, which is a good pod for you to check out. Anyway, love Johnny Carson sets the record straight on Johnny's legacy and shines light on the many sides of his personality, incorporating interviews with over 400 people in his sphere, including Carson's staff, crew, guests, guest hosts, and friends, revealing never-before-told behind-the-scenes stories of the funniest and most beloved Carson moments of all time. The book is out October 21st. The book also promises never-before detailed reasons why Johnny stopped talking to Joan Rivers, why he banned guests like William Shatner and Orson Welles, the true origins of Cornac the Magnificent, which was not stolen from Steve Allen, the part Johnny played in getting Nixon elected president, the beloved comedian who the Carson writers dreaded guest hosting, interesting, I wonder who that is, and many other behind-the-scenes stories. Should be a lot of fun, that one. Sheng Wang spoke to the Pitch KC, and he was talking about how he did not grow up watching late-night TV, and Sheng says, maybe I have more of a blank slate to a certain extent. I think I'm just a naturally observant, patient, and sensitive person that's really helpful in this line of work. Some comedians that say from a very young age wanted to do comedy, people who start too young, maybe haven't had a chance to develop it in themselves, so they grow into a caricature of what they think a comedian is. I started hitting open mics in my early 20s. I think the best comedians have a good sense of who they are and the unique person they are, and can lean on that and be brave enough to explore that. Pitch KC said they feel like people have been into comedians with specific voices and name-checked Conor O'Malley and Joe Pera. Sheng, do you feel like that's been the case? He said, yeah, I think so. There's so many more channels now, like literally with cable, streaming, and social. There's so many more ways to find an audience who can like what you do. It allows people to be themselves, weirder, not feel like they have to follow mainstream forms of expression of comedy. It used to be, to make it big, you had to do a 5-minute set on Johnny Carson, and then Mark Malkoff would write about you in his book. And you get hundreds of millions of people seeing you in one night. Now, you can be big if you have 100,000 followers on Instagram or TikTok. It's easier to find people who appreciate what you do. Jimmy O. Yang spoke with the South China Morning Post. He was surprised how quickly his Hong Kong shows sold out. Jimmy said, I really tried everything to get my tickets to my fans. Comedy's supposed to be for the people, and if it's up to me, I'd do 50 shows if there's availability and my schedule allows. Whenever I post something of me speaking Cantonese, I get a lot of love, but man, this is next level. With the fanfare and how fast the tickets sold, I feel like Blackpink right now. It's crazy. Just makes me want to come back to Hong Kong more. There's so many people that really support me. It's very touching. And that is your comedy news for today, and what's been a relatively slow news week. We need like a good comedian fight or something. It's been a little slow. Anyway, if you enjoy the program, tell a friend about it. They might like it too. And if you'd like the program without commercial interruption or feed drops, go to calaruga.com/plus. Or if you're on Apple Podcasts, click the banner that says uninterrupted listening. $5 a month. All that stuff goes away. See you tomorrow.